Hello and welcome to At the Leadership Table with retired Major General Jim Hoyer. Oftentimes people hear the word leader and they think only of political leaders, but leaders come in many forms, and that's worth exploring. I'm Jim Hoyer, born and raised in West Virginia, a husband, a father, a new grandfather, and a retired military leader, serving for over 40 years in public leadership for our state and nation. Now, the most important mission I have going forward is to educate, motivate, and empower our next generation of leaders. Honored today to have with us at the leadership table Shirley and Stan White. Shirley and Stan are good friends. Amy and I have had the opportunity to work with them and spend time with them. They are great advocates for Gold Star mothers, Gold Star families, and other veteran causes in West Virginia. And in a moment, we'll discuss more about that. Shirley's also been the president of the West Virginia Gold Star Mothers Association, and Shirley and Stan have lost two sons in military service, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. Shirley and Stan, it is an incredible honor and privilege to have you joining me at the leadership table today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
So we'll start out the same first question we ask all of our guests. Please share with us a standout moment when you learned something really important about leadership.
I was an assistant principal for the last 10 years of my career, and my motto I got from my former boss, John Clendenin, and tell someone to ask someone to do a job, they're qualified, so don't tell them how to do it. And the second thing is, don't ask anyone to do anything that you haven't done or won't do. And that's been my motto.
Very good. Shirley?
I'm not sure I have one outstanding moment, because when I became active with the West Virginia Gold Star Mothers, I was moving from a teacher. I had served on committees, but I hadn't been in charge. And at that time, I picked up a lot of good information from you, General Hoyer, and I worked with Linda Pritt, who at the time was a volunteer with the Guard, the National Guard, and also working on a committee with Senator Elizabeth Dole. I learned a lot from her. And basically, in all those cases, it is, okay, you are in charge, but you don't want to take care of every small item, but you want to make sure people that are with you, again, like Stan said, you want to make sure they're qualified, and you want to keep check just to make sure that they're doing what you want them to do.
And we had a lot of learning experiences together as we started Gold Star Family Day. We all learned together, and along with Senator Manchin and Mara Boggs from his office, and Sergeant Majors Kevin Harry and Jim Allen and Philip Cantrell, we all came together and built out an event from a West Virginia standpoint, focused on September 29th, which is Gold Star Family Day. But what I think frustrates me significantly is I don't think a lot of people out there in this country and our state still fully understand what is the sacrifice behind a Gold Star family and that service member. So could you guys take a little bit of time and tell us what is a Gold Star family?
Back in 2012, when we started the West Virginia Gold Star Mothers Department, a lot of our mothers and family members weren't aware of what that meant also. In fact, when my boys were active duty, I had not heard of Gold Star. But Gold Star mothers, Gold Star families, we have lost a loved one in service to our country. They paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms.
So Stan, we hear a lot about Gold Star mothers, Gold Star families, but I remember, one of the foremost advocates for helping us get this going in West Virginia was our dear friend Woody Williams. And I remember Woody telling the story about going to an event and seeing a gentleman at the end of the event who was very emotional, and Woody went up as he told me the story and talked to this gentleman, and the gentleman told him that he was a Gold Star father, and that Gold Star fathers grieve and deal with these challenges as well. So can you give us a little bit of perspective from a standpoint of a father as to what this means and the challenges that you go through?
Yeah, when you have a child, we had two that died in service. One in active duty, he was a KIA, and one died as a result of PTSD complications. And a lot of people think Gold Star is KIA, and our belief is you served, you died, you qualify as a Gold Star family. That's been our belief. And part of you is gone, and so they can't be there to do what you think they would do if they were a veteran. So our goal is to stand in their place and do the task that we think they would be doing, helping other veterans, whether it be counseling on PTSD or drugs, in which we've done quite a bit of it, or just serving veterans. Our oldest son is a veteran, and he's very, very active in the VFW. In fact, I think he was a state officer. I'm not sure what it was at one time, and he's still very active. So yeah, we try to represent our children, and we always say their names. Always remember Staff Sergeant Robert White in U.S. Army, 82nd Airborne, and Corporal Andrew White, U.S. Marines.
And Shirley, can you tell us, just so people understand the perspective of Gold Star families, can you tell us a little bit about both Robert and Andrew?
They were opposites. With your children, you raise them the same way basically, but that basic personality doesn't always stay the same. With Bob was fun-loving. He wanted to entertain. He just enjoyed life. And there are so many different stories we could share, or I could share. Andrew is more serious, but he would give you the shirt off his back. In fact, I have seen him do that. One of his friends would eat a jacket. Well, here, take mine. And he was very serious about everything, but very kind-hearted. With Bob, that was an experience raising Bob.
Well, it wasn't easy for your kids because you had a school teacher and a principal, right?
Exactly.
So it made it even harder for. It's kind of like kids, our two growing up with a general and an emergency room nurse. Kids don't necessarily have it easy, right? So our good friend, the late Woody Williams, Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, who spent the rest of his life advocating for veterans, was a key part of helping energize Gold Star family recognition in the state. One of those ways of doing that was the Gold Star family monuments. Can you guys give a little bit of perspective to when somebody sees that who doesn't have the experience of the military service, or in your case of being a Gold Star family member, what does that represent to a Gold Star family?
Could you address that?
Yeah, it's a concrete object that's there, it's what's in granite, that represents the sacrifice that these families have given for their children. I'd like to have one on my hat here, the replica, and it has a cutout of a soldier and has a star on it for the Gold Star, and it tells you what it is. So it's and there's, I think we'll probably be one in every state before it's over, if it's not already. And Woody wanted one in the National Mall. I don't know whether that's going to happen or not, but there's one at the State Mall in Charleston, the state capitol, the largest one. And the first one is at the Kennard Cemetery in near where we used to live in Institute.
So, Stan, you had mentioned earlier, in Andrew's case, PTSD. One of the things that I think we are failing to understand as a country, and we need to do a better job, is we are losing veterans every day in large numbers to suicide. Can you and Shirley help our listeners understand a little bit about the challenges that you saw as parents related to PTSD?
The young men and women that were deployed after 9/11, they were a different era. They were young, I would say naive. They were gung-ho to go out and serve for their country. Coming back from everything they had experienced, it was very difficult for them to get back into what we consider a normal life. And I know Andrew has friends that are still coping with that today. And even with all the therapy that's there, he's still having a very, very difficult time. And he's just one of so many.
And I know it's something that you guys continue to advocate for. Our Gold Star Mothers group and families groups do that, but we as a nation and a state have to continue to do more for those men and women who continue to deal with the challenges of service. The other important thing I think that happened here in the state of West Virginia in 2012, Shirley and Stan, you and I, my wife Amy, sergeants majors, as I mentioned earlier, Kevin Harry, Jim Allen, and Philip Cantrell worked with Mara Boggs, who herself is a veteran, her husband's a veteran, who worked for Senator Manchin, and with Woody Williams and Senator Manchin. And we started the West Virginia National Guard hosting a Gold Star family retreat at Camp Dawson. Can you tell us a little bit about that and about how important the opportunity for Gold Star families to come together is and why that event is so important?
Well, first of all, I think that goes back to your leadership and the people that you had working with you. We, families, fell in love with Kevin Harry, Philip Cantrell, Jim Allen. I mean, we really bonded with those men, and they became like our family, and we still keep in contact with them. The Gold Star Retreat at Camp Dawson, I hope, will continue in the future, but it does give families the opportunity to get together and we all know how we feel. That camaraderie we have with each other, and that gives us the opportunity to share that. We can share stories about our children. We can cry as we tell those stories, and we're accepted. And I think that's what the families come into. And also, it's a celebration because it's a time to relax, it's a time to participate in activities, but we are honoring and celebrating the lives of our children.
And as you said, you've had the opportunity to both laugh and cry together with families who've experienced the same unfortunate challenges that all Gold Star families face.
Right.
So what would you say would be the most important opportunities or ways that you would want to see folks in the state of West Virginia better support Gold Star families in our state?
I think the awareness needs to be out there from the different organizations and different companies. It seems like a lot of these CEOs or organizations, again, aren't aware of what Gold Star means. And as an organization, the West Virginia Gold Star Mothers, we feel like we have to continually try to make them aware of what we do, because we're not just a group of mothers or a family that just grieves. I mean, we go out and we try to help. We have worked with the Black Diamond Girl Scout Council for several years now, and every year we're included with the cookie drive, and we distribute thousands of boxes of cookies to veterans. We're working with different other groups. American Water Company in Charleston has included us in how to help veterans with their bills. We work with another organization, We Have Your Six, out of Parkersburg, to help pay for utility bills. We are one of the few organizations that will help National Guardsmen who are having financial difficulties. And it's just making people aware of what we can do and what we can offer, not just our loss, which is number one for as parents, but also what we're doing for veterans.
So those are great examples of what I think Stan talked about earlier, and that is part of what you all want to do for legacy for those loved ones, is to do the things that they didn't have the opportunity to do. And we know that I don't know that I've met a veteran or member of the military that doesn't in some way want to serve or sacrifice for others. So you guys are continuing that legacy for those Gold Star family members by doing those very things, Shirley, that you talked about. Is that part of what the organization is all about?
Yes, one of the things we do, Gold Star Mothers support retreats. I know one of the ones we've been doing at Canaan since 2010, a group called Gathering of Mountain Eagles, and it started out of Virginia, Fort Eustis and Fort Belvoir, and now it's out of South Carolina. A retired colonel from the Army started this program, and they come to Canaan and learn to ski. Well, skiing is the hook that gets them there. What they're really there for is a camaraderie. And I remember one time particularly, we had a very, very fragile group, and we always meet and have a dinner with them. And we looked, and no one was talking. They could just see this stare in their eyes. And I said, these kids are drugged to the max. And we took them skiing the next day, and then met with them again, just like you'd turn a key. And they started talking to each other. They wouldn't talk to each other. They fell down. They said, we said, falling down is nothing to these guys, what they've been through. You know, they were fearless. And I had this one young man wanted to snowboard, and he said, I'm a tractor for IEDs. I've been hit 6 times. I've had 6 TBIs. And he said, I'm not smarter than a 6th grader. I said, yes, you are. I remember that man. There's a picture of him in Canaan on a snowboard, and I can't remember his name now, but I'm not sure he's with us anymore. But he really struggled, but that just like turned the key, and he was better. And we do Project Healing Waters. We work with them at least once a year. We do like I did the ski trip. This group when they come to us, they always come to a basketball game, and they do a whitewater trip, and they go football game. They go deep sea fishing. And I think they even went to a Clemson spring training game one year. So there's always activities that Woody Arntz has him doing, and he started because of what the military did for his daughter, who was severely burned in a bus accident.
So,
Giving back.
a lot of giving back. So 2 important questions to make sure that our listeners understand, and I think we've talked about this before. There are still Gold Star families out there that haven't participated in activities, don't understand that the organizations are there to support them. If we have a Gold Star family member or friend of a Gold Star family member listening that wants to get involved, Shirley, what are the best ways to get in contact with you guys to get involved in the organization?
Well, the best way probably is our email, and it's WVGSM, which stands for West Virginia Gold Star Mothers, WVGSM 2012 at gmail.com. And that joining an organization, a lot of people are reluctant to do that, but once you join, the feelings that you get from participating in that group is just special. Like we talked about Camp Dawson and the retreat there. But joining an organization gives you that feeling of belonging. You make new friends, but you're also with people that understand what you have been through. You know, losing a child for anyone is traumatic, but knowing that the specialty of being military, that is also brings you together in a different aspect. So I would always encourage trying to reach out and join the organization or at any organization.
And for people who are listening that would want to support, whether monetarily or otherwise, and I think of our mutual friend Martha Mentor, who comes every year to the event at Camp Dawson and does the equestrian piece with family members and veterans, and she does that with veterans across the state of West Virginia. So if somebody wants to donate resources or their time and maybe a particular skill that they have, can they reach out to you at that same email address?
Yes, most definitely. And one example that we had one of our neighbors, and she's an accountant. So this past year we lost our treasurer. She passed away unexpectedly. Well, our neighbor volunteered to take over doing the books for us until we could get somebody else established. That saved us so much money, but also made us accountable. So, you know, even if you're not part of the military, even if you're not a Gold Star family, yeah, anyone that could advocate for us or step in, we would appreciate.
Yeah, and there's other programs too. There's Gold Star Mothers. We work with TAPS. We met Bonnie Carroll, who started TAPS back 30 years ago.
A long time ago.
And been to their events. I've been to a couple of their retreats. Project Healing Waters we work with. Fishing, people take fishing to one of our friends at Fire Rod Chronicles does a program at least once a year, Curtis Fleming, with Prosecuting Waters. And there's other groups up here. I know President Bush has a bike ride he used to do in Texas. And it's getting soldiers, veterans together. They go for the entertainment or the hook, which is fishing or bike riding or whatever. But then when you get there, that's not what you remember. You remember the camaraderie that you had, like we do with the Gold Star Mothers retreats. It's the friends you make. I've met friends one of my best friends, I met him at a retreat in Montana. And we're still very good friends. Michael Zinn. And his son was a Navy SEAL in team 3, team 6, one of them, and died out, serving.
Well, I greatly appreciate you guys taking the time to help us understand what Gold Star families mean, what it's about, the importance of sharing that with other people so people understand the sacrifices that are made. And, less than 1% of the population of the United States of America serves in uniform, so less than 1% of the families across the country are serving in that regard. And Amy and I were talking yesterday about because we knew we had this coming up, about the fact that one of the greatest privileges that we've had in our lives is building the friendships with you two, Shirley and Stan, with folks like Emma Johnson, who have become our friends for life. But we wish we would have been able to do that under different circumstances. But with that, we'll carry on, and I want to thank you guys for taking the time to be with us at the leadership table today.
Well, thank you for having us.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. This has been At the Leadership Table with retired Major General Jim Hoyer. Did you know you can now find me on social media at RMG Hoyer? That's HOYER, or email me at rmgjameshoyer@gmail.com.